Mr. Gottheimer for 5 minutes. You're on, sir.
Thank you, Chairwoman and Ranking Member. I greatly appreciate you hosting this important hearing and for having us here today. I appreciate you seeking input as we prepare a new Water Resources Development Act, and I'm here today to advocate for several water resource and water infrastructure priorities important in North Jersey. I have submitted 5 requests to the committee, and I'm hopeful they'll include them in the final WRDA WRDA we enact this year. My requests include the following. First, to create an authority for the Army Corps of Engineers to be able to perform the design and construction of necessary remediation of hazardous, toxic, and radioactive waste contamination on projects as part of the construction of a project. We must take steps to protect our water, air, and our open spaces for our children and grandchildren, pragmatic, common-sense action in our fight for the future of our communities and our planet. Second, to create an authority that will allow reimbursement to homeowners for the costs of relocation and require upgrades as part of non-structural measures. Just look at Hurricane Ida and what it did in my state, from flooding homes and sadly taking so many lives. Every time we have another bad storm, it is costing insurers, taxpayers, and families a fortune. Third, along with Representative Tonko and as a co-sponsor, I have submitted the text of the New York-New Jersey Watershed Protection Act to the committee. This bill would include the adoption of a watershed-wide restoration strategy in consultation with the Corps of Engineers to coordinate, fund, and provide technical assistance for conservation and restoration activities that strengthen flood controls, restore outdated dams, improve water quality, and increase public access to these vital water resources. The New York-New Jersey watershed is home to more than 20 million people, more than 200 fish species, and some of the most endangered rivers in the United States due to the high levels of PCBs. Fourth, along with Representative Pasquale's office, I have submitted a request for the Corps of Engineers to partner with several North Jersey municipalities, including Lodi, Maywood, Rochelle Park, to conduct a feasibility study regarding flood controls. According to these local communities, flooding from Hurricane Ida caused significant damage, resulting in evacuations of hundreds of residents and seniors, with many still in temporary housing. We desperately need the federal government to step in and help residents, families, and local governments mitigate the problem before more disasters occur. Finally, I submitted a policy request to the committee granting the Corps of Engineers authority to study and address the impact of sea level rise on projects. Currently, sea level rise is only studied when its impacts are incorporated into coastal storm risk features that are authorized for construction. Sea level rise by itself is not examined if it is not related to a storm risk feature being authorized. This is problematic because an area where no coastal storm risk features are recommended may in fact be impacted by sea level rise in the future, but the Corps does not include that without a specifically recommended project feature. We're in the middle of a major climate crisis, as we all know, and if you look at the last few years, the unprecedented wildfires, record high temperatures, shorter winters, and rising water levels off the Jersey Shore. For New Jersey and for our whole planet, we must take action that will help us tackle climate change now and not later, so that our country and state will have clean air and water for future generations. In addition to these priorities, I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight the critical water investments made in our historic, once-in-a-century bipartisan infrastructure bill last November, now being implemented across the country. Back home in Jersey, we have 350,000 lead service lines, according to the American Water Association. That's a lead pipe that connects a water main to premises like a home or school. We know that lead can have nefarious and terrible impacts on children, on their health, and on families. Overall, nationwide, our bipartisan infrastructure bill will make a $55 billion investment in clean drinking water, which represents the largest investment in American history to help our children and families. New Jersey will expect to claw back $1 billion over 5 years from the bipartisan infrastructure bill to improve water infrastructure across our state and to ensure that our clean, safe water is right for our kids, is there and right for our kids and families. Investments will go toward the replacement of lead service lines and toward emergencies involving lead in drinking water, assistance for small communities like those in Sussex and Warren counties and across North Jersey, and of course, help for schools across the 5th Congressional District. I've been helping lead the fight to make sure investment from the infrastructure bill goes to projects in North Jersey, including water infrastructure projects in Fair Lawn and flood mitigation in Hillsdale, New Milford, and Westwood. Making the investment we need to deliver clean drinking water to every American is a bipartisan issue that can bring everyone and must bring everyone together. Thank you so much for holding this important hearing and allowing me to discuss these critically important projects and issues facing our families and small businesses and communities in northern New Jersey. I'm confident that if we work together, we can mitigate flooding, combat climate change, and ensure we have clean drinking water for our communities. Thank you so much. I look forward to continuing to work with you on these important issues here in the greatest country in the world. I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony, sir. Mr. Gottheimer, it's very good to hear all of the things